All right. Now we'll talk about the concepts that a product manager needs to know. For example, market research, then CJM, and then pain points. We need to understand how to identify pain points of our customers, and then we need to prioritize those pain points, right? Customer might have 10 requirements, or he might have 10 needs, but we need to prioritize which ones to address first. So that is there. And then we need to, after we have prioritized, we need to address those needs, and we need to, solve the problem, start solving the problem. So that is there. So this is an entire life cycle, if you notice, right? And then we use the UI UX design knowledge to build the product. This is the building stage, product building stage. And this is sort of identifying the needs of the customers, right? So UI UX design, I'll spend about 5 to 10 minutes in the next session on UI UX also. And then the technical knowledge part. People say that you don't need technical knowledge for becoming a PM, but technical knowledge always helps. So that's why I asked in the beginning whether some people have some API knowledge or knowledge of databases. So that always helps. That is not a must require, that's not a requirement as such, but that always helps. And then product development. We'll talk about how products are developed in today's world. And finally, A/B testing. Some of you might have heard of A/B testing as well. Uh, so before before I move on to these skills, are there any questions um, pertaining to the previous slides? Um, any questions related to the stuff that we've covered? All right, seeing none, I'll move on. So first we talk about market research. When we talk about building a product, we need to be very aware of what all other products exist in the market. Someone wants to say something? All right. So we need to be aware of the needs of users, what all other products are there in the market. So we need to do a lot of market research before building a product. And this can be so there are various terms that are used. First one is exploratory research. You search on the internet, talk to people, right, and try to understand what all products are there in the market. Let's say I start building Instagram, right? I am the founder of Instagram, let's say, and Facebook is already a very successful product. I'm talking about 2014, somewhere around that time, right? So Facebook was already a very successful product, and the founders of Instagram still went ahead and built the product, and later on the product became extremely successful, was acquired by Facebook itself, and so on. So at that point of time, in the very early stages, they must have done some exploratory research, must have talked to people, uh, did some preliminary research on the internet, primary, secondary research, lots of research they must have done. And then competitive analysis. They must have looked at what other players are there in the market. So Facebook was there. I think TikTok was probably not there at that time. Uh, WhatsApp was there. Other platforms were there. So they must have done some competitive analysis, and they must have talked to users. Now, if users did not like to share videos and pictures, then Instagram would not have existed today, right? So they identified that users like to share pictures, uh, like to share videos, all of that. So they gathered those insights from users, from potential users, and then they did some beta testing, launched a beta version of the product, got some advice, feedback from users, and then improved that product and finally launched the final version. And then segmentation. Now, segmentation is slightly complex. You need to segment based on various factors. Now you can segment users based on either gender or income, ethnicity, or education. This is demographic segmentation. So based on the demographics of users, you can segment them. For example, gender, income, and so on. So similarly, you can segment users based on their geography. People in US might have different requirements than people in India, right? In India, we are more towards the traditional approach and all, but in the US, people just want everything online, and people even order vegetables online. In India, this trend has just started. This has not caught up. People have not started ordering online so much as compared to the US. So location is definitely one factor which affects user preferences. It's all of this is about user preferences, right? Some users, if users don't want to buy online, then there's no point of an Amazon, or there's no use of a Flipkart or a Zepto or a Zomato, Swiggy, all of that. So you need to keep the location in mind. Similarly, the region. Now, North India versus South India again. I think there was a survey, and people identified that in North India, dosa is the most ordered thing, and in South India, biryani is the most ordered thing. So that all of that demand, right? People can understand the demand based on the region. So the region plays an important part. Uh, a biryani store, or let's say a South Indian store in North India would have been, you would have to take special measures in order to make sure that the demand versus supply is in a balance, right? So that is there. Some stores would not, many people would not buy from some stores, but some South Indian stores in North India would probably have a lot of orders per day. So you need to keep all of that in mind. The region is definitely an important part. Similarly, the zip code. All of this is related to geographies, right? Similarly, people have different psychological needs. So, and people have different mindset, people have different thinking. So you need to segment based on interests. Some people might not want to order online. Some people might want to, sit back and relax and have everything served to them online. And then lifestyle of people. In villages, people don't really want to order online, or in towns. But in tier one cities where there's a lot of traffic and so on, people want to, devote their energies to something else instead of just traveling and uh, going to buy stuff from brick and mortar stores. So that is there in lifestyle, and attitudes of people, personalities, all that changes uh, all that affects how you build the product, what product you build, right? How you solve that problem. All that affects this. So you need not do all these segmentations. You can probably do just carry out just one kind of segmentation, let's say based on location or based on gender, income. This is a very common one. I do this a lot when I solve case studies. For example, people with less income might not want to order online, and people with higher incomes might want to order stuff online. When I talk about ordering online, it might include, the e-commerce part, um, all the stuff that we order from Amazon, and then even the Zomato or Swiggy part, food that you order online, and even the vegetables, groceries part that you can order from Swiggy, Instamart, or Zepto. So the income can definitely be a factor which really affects what we order, how we order. So that is there. That is one effective way of segmenting your users. So this is the first step. Once you segment your users, once you understand, now segmentation helps you to understand users better, right? And understanding your users is the first step in building a good product. And I think must have heard about this. You must have heard this from other sources as well. The first step to building a good product is understanding your users, and this is one way. Segmentation is one way to understand your users better, and so is market research. Okay. This is all about segmentation. Any questions till now?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what do we mean by the in ethnicity in demographic segmentation?
Ethnicity is more, I think it is related to the kind of traditions and customs that a person follows. Now, for example, in Rajasthan, you might, people have different kinds of requirements. People might have, a specific mindset, and similarly, in some other state, you might have some different mindset. You'll have to check on this, but yeah, I think that is my take on this. Ethnicity is otherwise also a commonly used term. It essentially means that social segmentation, social groups that are formed, or groups that are formed based on some common traditions, right? So that can be the ethnicity part. So the Rajasthan example, I think, is a very good example for the same. All right. Any other questions? Age, yes, age definitely can be a parameter for segmentation. Young people might want to, go with the trend and order stuff online through. They even might want to order, groceries online. But older people might want to, or not older people. I mean, middle-aged people might want to, step outside and buy from brick and mortar stores. So all that is there. Age definitely affects the user preferences. That is definitely one factor. Any other questions?